It's a major problem in a lot of areas. It spreads at an incredibly rapid rate and it displaces native species. South Louisiana is a perfect climate for elephant ear. It's hot, it's wet. When people purchase elephant ear to plant them in their gardens, keep in mind that the elephant ear can expand beyond your garden. What the students are doing in Bluebonnet Swamp is a traditional scientific experiment that comes in two phases. The first phase is more experimental, and we have 6 different treatments to try and knock the elephant ear back.
One week we went out there and we were supposed to remove elephant ear and replace it with other native species and try to see if adding the native species or just removing the elephant ear would help restore the original environment. And then the next week we went and we just purely got in the mud and removed the elephant ear. The lab was probably the best lab I've ever taken. It was definitely the most interesting. People would always see us leaving class with nets, buckets, rubber boots, and then we would go to the lab and it was always muddy. We'd get stuck foot deep in the mud, and we had like this track player that had to actually pull us out of the mud a couple times. And
we spend a fair bit of time trying to dig students out of the mud. Students are not as adept at walking around in mud and waders as I had hoped.
In previous labs that I've taken, you're doing data, you're doing experiments, but they don't really do much. They're not making a difference. At least when you go out to the swamp, you're changing the environment. You're putting it back to how it's supposed to be.
When they're out there and actually doing the work, they connect better to it. My initial expectations for phase 2 were that it would be a couple of years before we saw real progress.
It's a lifelong problem. Like, invasive species are something that you have to tackle not just in Louisiana, but all over the world, and it's great to know that we have a method and we're trying to change it. It's great to know that you're a part of something, and it's something that's going to continue. I know the project is going to make a difference. I know if you can see that there's a problem and you really want to fix it, you can do that.